again. This is Kimberly Carter with podcast number 3 on prison overcrowding and potential solutions. This week's discussion will center around mandatory minimum sentencing, a concept I briefly mentioned in the last 2 podcasts. Directly contributing to the overcrowding crisis, mandatory minimum sentences eliminate the possibility of earning good time, cause safety issues inside of prisons, and endanger society as a whole. Here in Washington, at one point, the overcrowding was so bad here at WCCW that prison administrators had to rent bed space out of Yakima County Jail to specifically house medium security individuals due to the swelling population caused by relentless mandatory sentences. People would be plucked from their jobs, schooling, and all types of betterment to serve 6 months of dead time in a jail. On Tuesday morning, everyone waited anxiously, hoping their door would not be the one officers would come knocking on, saying to pack up for Yakima. It was so bad that some women would resort to cutting themselves to not have to go. Impending problems like this, as well as sleeping on a floor next to a toilet, could be solved with the elimination of mandatory sentences. In particular, Washington State uses mandatory sentencing, completely eliminating any opportunity for one to earn good time credit. This creates attitudes of having nothing to lose, fueling the dangerousness inside of prisons. A previously incarcerated male said men in this situation talk and behave disrespectfully to staff and will say out loud that they have nothing to lose. Here at WCCW, women go into a mode of not caring about anything and self-sabotaging when they feel there's no hope. While many do struggle with doing time, there are those who have gone down that dark path of assaulting others, to include staff. They have no reason to do better. They will spend some time in segregation, but some people see seg as a break from the constancy of people. This mindset, created in some and caused by mandatory minimums, becomes a safety hazard for correctional staff who must work inside of prisons, as well as inmates who must live here. Both the reward and loss of good time are effective tools in making someone think twice about their conduct. Yet in the case of mandatory sentences, this tool is completely unavailable. On the other end of the spectrum, despondency and sadness are the state of many. One day before doing this podcast, I was making lunch when a lady who had served 22 years approached me, shaking. It was pure happiness to see a light of hope return in her that has been missing for so long. She is someone who walks around with her head down and a face void of a smile. This glimmer of hope gave her life I didn't know was still there. She fell prey to the depression long ago, the underlying emotion of many imprisoned. Without clemency or some other form of reprieve from her long sentence, this lady won't release until 2057. Taking DOC's authority to grant good time when the Sentencing Reform Act went into effect in favor of strict, harsh, hopeless sentences was a huge mistake that has left an enormous overcrowding problem in the aftermath. The people in power are accountable to the public when people release from prison. A mandatory sentence does not mean someone is never getting out of prison. So it is best to keep an individual on a path of betterment for when the day of release comes. Allowing someone to earn good time is the perfect way of doing this, It gives hope and something to look forward to. So why not incentivize good behavior? Mandatory minimum sentences are completely destructive and synonymous with the vanishment of hope. We should ask ourselves why judicial circuits execute such harshness and inhumanity only to have our cities become less safe while prison overcrowding remains an issue. Recidivism rates drastically decrease when people positively program and meet educational goals. Once an inmate has achieved educational goals, it is a long-term benefit to society. That concludes this week's discussion. If you want to reach out to me directly, I am an inmate at the Washington Correction Center for Women, and you can email me through Securus. My name is Kimberly Carter, DOC 81579. Before I go, I want to give you one last thought. That is, if you give a person reason to do better, most times he or she will relish in the opportunity. I will talk to you again next week with a conclusion.